Breaking news. It seems the striker position that we've been talking about the whole month or the whole second half of the season or the beginning of the season has been decided. Barcelona have decided their number one priority for next season's striker role, and it's nobody than Julián Álvarez. It's decided. The news came out yesterday and they said Barcelona are going all in for Julián Álvarez, and they believe the price is around 80 million or less. And do you think Atlético Madrid is going to let Julián Álvarez, which they bought for 150 million? Julián Álvarez, I think 120 million. Atletico Madrid bought Julián Álvarez. Do you think the Barcelona are going to get Julián Álvarez from their arch rivals, Atletico Madrid, for less than 80 million or less than 100 million? Because the price being spoken is around 80 million. And you look at it in a very wider scheme. Is Julián Álvarez even worth 80 million? We're looking for somebody who's going to replace one of the most prolific goal scorers in the history of the game, which is Robert Lewandowski. Yes, he's getting old, but Robert Lewandowski in front of the goal is lethal. The records, the numbers of Robert Lewandowski, it's difficult for you to see a striker, not to talk of Julián Álvarez, to beat that mark of Robert Lewandowski. Remember, we have a very bright attack of Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, and we need somebody who will be able to replace Robert Lewandowski. Yes, Julián Álvarez has the technicality, he has the speed, he's a very, very wonderful player. But does he have the presence of Robert Lewandowski in his prime when he started playing for Barcelona? And you look at it again and you ask, is he actually, let's tell ourselves the truth, is Julián Álvarez worth 80 million? Because if you notice, the same news came out yesterday after the Julián Álvarez news. Barcelona are going in for another three players. Bastoni, Grimaldo, and Jan Virgili. If you guys don't know who Jan Virgili is, he was a Barcelona player who is loaned, being bought to Mallorca with a buyback option. And that Jan Virgili, for me, is an exciting left winger. I said it in one of my videos. He's the one I preferred Barcelona to go for the left wing. Jan Virgili in this Barcelona squad will do wonders because he's fast, he marks, he runs for the ball. But we need money. Barcelona, we know the problem of Barcelona recently. Financial fair play. We can't be able to register players and all that. It seems Barcelona are getting close to the one-for-one rule. And for them to bring somebody like Julián Álvarez, Bastoni, Grimaldo, and Jan Virgili, we need to let some players go. Which player are you going to let go? The news has been coming out that Koundé could be sold. Balde could be sold. Ferran, the news came out yesterday that Ferran could be sold. Ronald Araujo could be sold. There are some players that could be sold, and we've also had a very, very crazy news coming out late last night that Manchester United are willing to trigger an 100 million clause for Fermín López, which is impossible. Fermín López just signed until 2031. It's impossible that Fermín López leave Barcelona. But the big news coming out is Barcelona have already decided that their number 9 top striker to go for next season is Julián Álvarez. That if the Julián Álvarez deal doesn't go through, they will be looking at the other options, which are Osimhen, Kane, and Dusan Vlahovic. And if I am Osimhen and let's say the deal between Barcelona and Álvarez didn't go through, and he's a second fiddle and they're trying to sign him, I won't go, because as a player, as Osimhen is, he cannot be a second fiddle to Julián Álvarez. Julián Álvarez is not even a top striker. Yes, he could adapt in this kind of system Hansi Flick plays, because Hansi Flick plays a very fast system. But we need a 9 in that system. A 9 with presence, who can jump, who is tall, who is physical. Somebody like the like of Lewandowski that has the same attribute. Osimhen has the same attribute as Lewandowski. Dusan Vlahovic at least has a little bit of that attribute. Kane is there. But Julián Álvarez, I don't know. For me, I love Julián Álvarez, but if Barcelona could get him for 80 million or less than 80 million, I would say it's a good deal, because yes, we need somebody in that front. Ferran Torres doesn't work. Lewandowski is already old. We need somebody who's going to lead the attack for next season. Yes, I could imagine a very, very prolific attack of Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, and Julián Álvarez. It's going to be massive. That attack is going to be incredible. But I want to know your opinion, guys. That's why I'm asking. There's a very big breaking news coming out of Barcelona recently, and this was just news that came out last night that Barcelona are going all in for Julián Álvarez. That they just wanted the player to show more effort in coming out of Atlético Madrid. Barcelona doesn't want to make that same mistake they made with Nico Williams, and they want Julián Álvarez to show that effort to bring out, there are recent interviews of Julián Álvarez, which he was asked, what do you think about your future in Atlético Madrid? He said he doesn't know. He cannot predict the future. He doesn't know if he's going to stay or not. He's giving hints that he wants to leave Atlético Madrid. He's not even happy in Atlético Madrid, let's be honest there. Atletico Madrid is a very big team, but the kind of style of game that suits Julián Álvarez is in Barcelona. I love Julián Álvarez. I love the way he plays. He's a very good player, but do you think that's 80 million? Barcelona could be able to sign him for 80 million or less, because Atletico Madrid will not make it easy for you. The sporting director has problem with Joan Laporta, who is the president of Barcelona. He was the sporting director of Barcelona. Alemany will not let anything go like this to Barcelona, not to talk of Joan Laporta, who is the president. So do you think, number one, Barcelona could get him for that 80 million or less? Or do you think Atletico Madrid will allow him go for that price? Or do you even think Julián Álvarez is worth that money, that 80 million? Because you could get Dusan Vlahovic for free. You could get Osimhen for a little bit lesser price, which is going to be difficult for Galatasaray, but Osimhen could make things easy for Barcelona. We're talking of Barcelona here, the one of the biggest team in the world, biggest team in the history. Yes, we're thinking of buying Bastoni, a left fullback in Grimaldo, who is 15 million price now. If Barcelona could sign Grimaldo, I think they will sign him for 10 million, possibly 10 million, because he has 1 year contract more in Bayern Leverkusen. And we ask, who should we buy? Who should we replace? Who should be sold? Who should be, we are looking for a way to release this one-for-one rule. For those players to come, we need to sell players. Araujo need to be sold. Ferran Torres need to be sold. That is no-brainer. Andres Christensen, I don't know. That guy too also need to be sold, because last years he hasn't been trying his best. He hasn't been playing, and with injury coming out so far. And Sufati also needs to be sold. Ter Stegen need to be sold. We need people to go for these players to come in. But the big question is, do you think Barcelona could be able to pull this 80 million clause for Julián Álvarez? And do you think he's the right person? He worth that 80 million Barcelona is paying for? Do you think Julián Álvarez is the man to lead Barcelona in the attack for next season? I'll be reading down in the comment below. I appreciate the love you guys are showing to me in this channel. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Peace.